7 iconic and influential figures in American history. That's what we're talking about today. Hi everyone, I'm Ryan from Go Natural English. And in this lesson, I've chosen 7 categories: music, literature, cinema, sports, science, government, and miscellaneous. And in each category, I've selected one person who changed American culture and American history. I'll be giving a few facts about how they grew up, about what they did, and how their life ended. And make sure you're paying close attention because at the end of today's lesson, I have a small, challenging quiz. Hi everyone, before the video starts, I just want to tell you about our newsletter. Every single week, Go Natural English is sending free fluency tips directly to your inbox. Learn English faster, improve your accent, have better reading comprehension. Every single week, that's what we're giving to you for free. Sign up with your email in the description. It's the first link. Click on the description, click on the first link, and there you go. All right, let's do this. So today's first category is music. And I've chosen someone who I absolutely love and is my favorite solo recording artist of all time. And it's the king of rock and roll, Elvis Presley. So Elvis was born in Tupelo, Mississippi in 1935. He had an average childhood, although he was a bit bullied growing up. But when he was 19, in 1954, he recorded a song called That's All Right. And this song blew up in the local radio stations. Just 2 years later, he released Heartbreak Hotel, which I'm sure you've heard before, and this launched his career into international superstardom. But only 2 years after that, Elvis was drafted into the military and sent to Germany. He lived in a small town north of Frankfurt called Bad Nauheim, which I've been to. I visited Elvis's house last year, and it was amazing. It was really special to know that I was standing right where Elvis stood and where he danced and sang. And I was there and I had my music, listening to Elvis. It was really, really wonderful. Elvis returned to America in 1960 and recorded dozens more songs and movies. His popularity grew and grew. He became a huge star in Las Vegas. Many musicians credit Elvis as inspiration. The Beatles, Michael Jackson, among others. Elvis died in 1977 due to a heart attack. Category number 2 is literature and art. When I say the name Samuel Clemens, does that ring a bell? What if I say Mark Twain? Mark Twain is one of the most famous American authors of all time. And he was born in 1835 in Missouri. Mark Twain's childhood dream was to be the pilot of a steamboat, which he fulfilled at age 23. But soon after that, the American Civil War started, and he moved to the West. This pen name, Mark Twain, comes from a steamboat term which refers to the depth of 12 feet, which means the boat can travel safely. Mark Twain is famous for his satire, his political commentary, and his adventure books, The Adventures of Tom Sawyer and Huck Finn. 2 of my favorite quotes of all time are from Mark Twain. He said that kindness is the language that the deaf can hear and the blind can see. He also said that travel is fatal to prejudice, bigotry, and narrow-mindedness. And I couldn't agree more. Mark Twain died in 1910 due to a heart attack. Next category is cinema. And for today's lesson, we have one of the most famous actresses in history, Norma Jean Mortensen. Do you know her? Maybe you don't know her by this name, but do you know Marilyn Monroe? So Marilyn Monroe was born Norma Jean Mortensen in 1926 in Los Angeles, California. Marilyn had a very difficult childhood. She never knew her father, her mother had psychosis, and she lived with different families in foster homes. Throughout her time in these homes, she was sexually assaulted, and by the age of 15, she dropped out of school completely. She got married at age 16 and started to work in a factory. It was at this factory she was discovered by a photographer who told her about modeling. Over the next many years, she became famous through her modeling and eventually created movies and won awards for her performances. Marilyn fought against the traditional roles of being nothing but something to look at. She took control of her sexuality and of her performances and of her roles in Hollywood, which is why she is today almost considered an icon for modern feminists. Sadly, Marilyn Monroe died in 1962 due to a drug overdose. She was only 36. Category number 4 is government. And we're taking a step back in history to talk about the 16th President of the United States. Good old Honest Abe. Abraham Lincoln was born in 1809 in Kentucky. His family was very poor, and his mother died when he was 9 years old. This caused him to stop school and begin working to support his family. But he educated himself by reading books. And at age 25, he joined the Illinois government. Abraham became famous for his speeches against slavery. And when he ran for presidency in 1860, he won. But the southern states did not like Abraham Lincoln and wanted to leave the United States. This was the cause of the Civil War. As many of us learned growing up, the North won the war, the Confederate States rejoined the Union, and Abraham Lincoln ended slavery. So Abraham Lincoln is most famous for ending slavery, uniting the United States, and the Gettysburg Address, which is one of the most famous speeches in American history. President Lincoln was assassinated in 1865 by John Wilkes Booth. Next up, category 5 is sports. James Cleveland Owens was born in 1913 in Alabama. His nickname was JC for James Cleveland. But due to his southern accent, people in the North couldn't understand what he was saying, and they called him Jessie. And this is the name that he became world famous. Jesse Owens. While Jesse Owens was becoming a track star in Ohio, Nazi Germany was rising up and Hitler was gaining power. In 1936, the Olympics were in Berlin, and Hitler wanted to show Aryan dominance. But Jesse Owens, a black American, would have something to say about that. By the time Jesse arrived in Berlin for the Olympics, he already had several world records. And after the Olympics ended, he had 4 gold medals and completely destroyed Hitler's image of Aryan supremacy. Jesse Owens was a pioneer in breaking racial barriers in sports and international relations. Unfortunately, he was also an avid smoker and smoked up to 1 pack of cigarettes a day for most of his life, and he died due to lung cancer in 1980. When it comes to science and innovation, Thomas Edison is on everyone's list. Edison owns the most patents in American history, more than 1,000. Edison was born in 1847 in Ohio, but one day as a teenager, he saved a young boy from death from being hit by a train. Can you imagine? So Thomas Edison saved this boy from the train, from being hit. And the father of this boy told Thomas Edison, and the father of this young boy was so thankful that he offered to teach Thomas Edison how to be a telegraph operator. It was here that Edison learned about communications and machinery. He later developed the first voice recording device, and of course, the light bulb. He wasn't actually the first person to create the light bulb, but he was the first to produce it in a way that was easily accessible and reproducible. And he also invented motion picture. Thomas Edison died in 1931 due to complications with diabetes. Our 7th and final topic of today's lesson is miscellaneous, which means random or nothing in particular. And this character is Uncle Sam. He is most famous for his poster for recruitment of the American Army when he asks and implores viewers, "I want you for the U.S. Army. This poster was printed more than 4 million times in support of World War I, and many historians believe that this character was based on an actual person named Samuel Wilson. Samuel Wilson was an older gentleman who helped soldiers in the War of 1812 and kept them fed. Today you can see Uncle Sam's likeness on many different advertisements. So there you have it, 7 influential and iconic figures. Now it's time for a quiz. You ready? Question number 1. Which of today's figures had the name Norma at birth? 3, 2, 1. Marilyn Monroe. Question number 2. Who won the 100-meter race at the Berlin Olympics? Jessie Owens. Good! Did you get it? Question number 3. Which of today's figures was drafted into the military? Elvis Presley. Number 4. Who has the nickname Honest? Honest Abe. Abraham Lincoln. Question number 5. Which of today's figures was famous for their satirical writings? Mark Twain. Very good. Hopefully you passed our little quiz and learned a few new facts about famous American figures. So that wraps up today's lesson. Do you guys have any questions? Is there anyone from American history that you'd like to know more about? Let me know in the comments down below. And while you're down there, don't forget to pre-register for our complete fluency course. If you'd like to continue on your English journey today, you can check out one of our other fun lessons. And until then, I'm Ryan, this is Go Natural English, and I'll see you next time. Bye everyone!